All right, it is June 1st. This is the meeting of the Simon Fairfield Library Trustees. It is 5:07. Oop. We do have a quorum, I believe, right? We have a quorum, or do we not without Danielle?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Nick's the only real one missing.
1, 2, 3,
Everyone
4.
is present except for Nick Sokrat, and Danielle's trying to get back in.
Okay.
Which is why I'm going to have to keep switching back and forth between these screens. 1 second. Too smaller. Nope.
In the meantime, did everyone have a chance to read the minutes? And are there any comments, changes?
I just wanted to make sure everybody read the motion that we passed, whether it took me a half an hour of going back over the meeting and all the different little pieces that we put into it. So I just wanted to make sure that those that were at the meeting have agreed to it. But obviously, if nobody's saying anything, you all did.
It sounded good.
I was not at the meeting.
Yeah, so that's okay.
I did read it and it seemed good to me. I read the minutes. I was not there, so I guess I don't know if I can say anything more than that.
Okay.
Yeah, once these, just to go back, it was moved, seconded, and passed unanimously to transfer the funds, including the Simon Fairfield Library Interest-Bearing Building Account, Library Building Account, and Library Trust Fund, and instruct the town treasurer to consolidate these funds as the Library Building Fund in the town's account with Bartholomew.
Yeah.
And after we approve these minutes, then we can actually make that happen.
Oh, that's right. All right, I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as written. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Second. Come on, somebody.
I can't. I don't know if I can.
Yeah, that's
true. I can't do it. I wrote them, so.
Oh.
Can the same person motion and second? I guess not.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 If it counts. Yeah.
All right, minutes are accepted as written. Reorganization, it's that time already?
Yeah, first meeting after the town elections.
Oh yeah, because Dana was elected again, right? Or elected, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I voted for him.
I did too.
Me too.
How many votes did you get, Dana? 3?
No, it was a lot this time. It was like 260 something.
Yeah, good for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think I got in with like 17 or 22 or something.
Oh my gosh.
Why, you forgot to register, or
It
you
must have
didn't?
been a very low turnout.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that's, yeah, I think like last time I had like 60 or 70. So
Huh.
Wow, there wasn't much exciting on the ballot this time, but who knows? Why people do what they do.
I know.
Well, I'll move that we, if nobody is anxious to take any of our places, I'll move that we continue with the same slate of officers we currently have.
Second.
You list them, please.
Danielle Morrow, chair, who's,
Vice chairs
Kate.
Catherine Anderson.
Yep.
oh, Kate, you're running the meeting. That's true. And secretary is me, and treasurer, I'm not sure who it is. It could be any one of you, 1, 2, 3s. Dawn or Barbara or Dana.
Yeah,
I
who-
can't remember.
Who is the treasurer?
I'm not, I don't think I am. I might, if there's a secondary, I might be.
I get that's
Treasurer and senior are two different things.
Yeah.
The treasurer currently is, well, we've got treasurer next to Barbara Van Reed and Don Fontaine.
That's because they sign the papers.
The
Right.
warrant, yeah.
right.
Which we have to vote on separately, I think. I should have put that down, but we could include that the signers of the warrants would be either Barbara or Dawn.
Right, then that's separate from being treasurer.
Right.
Okay, so
And
which
I-
one of you wants the official title of treasurer?
So Barbara and Dawn have to duke it out.
Yeah, you can have it, Barbara.
I'd like to understand exactly what that is and what that entails, what the responsibilities are, because it's never
I
been
think
on.
it's a legal thing. And I'm not, state law wise or that we have to have it. And if there is something that requires a legal reason to use the treasurer, then you gotta have a treasurer to be able to do it. Because I think we talked about this about a year ago, whether we could get rid of that post, but I think you really can't, because I think it is a state requirement. But I'm not positive.
Yeah, it's kind of vestigial because, we have a town treasurer and, all of the trustees' funds go in to be managed by her. Or him.
Yeah, but wait a minute. As she said, and as Matt had researched and everything, we as the trustees and in our initial making of us, that was one of the posts that we had to fill.
It's in the trustee.
We haven't changed that yet, and we are the ones in charge of those funds, and we as we just instructed Cheryl to take them on, do what we want done. Somehow it has to come from us, and it's in our original making of the trustees of the Simon Fairfield Public Library.
Right, and some years ago, we had someone who had that position who actually would do treasurer's reports. Now,
Right.
Justin has been doing those in an exemplary fashion. But I don't know if that makes,
I think the trustees are Justin's boss. So I think it would be amiss if we did drop it.
right, you say the position has to be filled. But what are the other responsibilities, or what does it really entail legally? Nothing?
It
If
really
it's
does.
nothing, then I'm great with it. But if it's something other than that, like it came up last year, sort of like you have to be bonded or there's some other stuff that goes along with it.
Well, you did used to have to be bonded, and we don't have to be.
If you were still like running back and forth, taking, like fines from the library cash register to the bank and depositing them into accounts and then investing money and moving stuff around and, basically doing that for the library, you would have to be bonded. But I mean, the treasurer, like is a position which just over the years, all the work has been picked up by other entities because, you know, like I pay the bills through Gene, Cheryl manages the money, and, you know, I do the reports. So it's like, you know, it just the work is already done.
No, and that's great because, you know, a few years ago when we did have a treasurer as a separate responsibility, I took on the you know, the signing responsibility for the payroll, which is great, but it was separate from the treasurer. And somehow that doesn't morph into being treasurer, I don't think.
Mhm.
But
No,
it used to have been. So that's why I'm bringing it up.
I also, if I was in Justin's seat, I would want to have the trustees be the ones that were legally responsible for what happens. We trust what Justin is doing. He does make great reports and stuff like that. So everything is hunky dory. But if it wasn't, then we'd sit there with mud on our face and stuff like that. He
Right.
makes us look good right now. But not all library directors are like Justin.
I actually don't know if liability would fall to y'all or not, or if it would fall to the town treasurer, because that's one of Cheryl's big hesitancies with, you know, the investing and all that stuff without having the proper documentation and everything, because she is legally liable if something goes wrong with the town's money.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm going to try to admit Danielle again.
Well, and that's where I'm coming from. You know, I know Justin's doing a great job, but what is the responsibility of a treasurer? And being the financial aspects are not that's not like Dana knows all about that stuff, money, you know, but I'm a better editor than I am a financial planner. And so even though I can do the numbers on the payroll, so I'm bringing it up. I don't know if I'm the right person or not.
Okay, I'm just putting what are the responsibilities of a treasurer in the minutes. I'm not answering that question. Okay, so
and I don't have a problem. I just want to make sure it's right,
Mm-hmm.
that it's done right.
Maybe because you're so close to the. Every time I'm trying to put in there, I can't do it.
I hear you, Danielle.
yeah, we all hear you.
I cannot get it to work.
All right, Kate, what's the next steps?
All right, I can hear you again for a minute. It was weird. Okay, so is anybody else comfortable taking on the treasurer position?
Well, I don't think Barbara's uncomfortable with it, but it's just that she wants to know what's the purpose of this position.
I'm not sure we can answer that without doing a little more research, like what's in our bylaws. How does that work with what the town does? I know like the other committees don't have treasurers, but we're a little bit different than that, so.
If somebody else feels, you know, I'm like I said, I'm Don and I've been signing. If Don would, I mean, I'm willing, certainly, you know, somebody else wants to do it, it's fine. I'm not vested in it. I'm not saying that in a negative way, you know, really, I'm not. I'm just.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat with you, Barb, where I'm like, if we need to do it, I'm happy to do it, but I don't have any, expertise in that area. I can sign payroll, I can add and subtract.
It sounds more like if there's some kind of a grant paperwork going around and it has a slot for a treasurer to sign, the treasurer will sign it. That's what it sounds like we need it for.
Yeah.
Someone to sign something as treasurer. It doesn't sound like they're doing a lot of financial doings.
Right, and that's
Right.
the situation right now because Justin is doing everything.
Yeah, and if Justin doesn't want to do it, then we would have to get a treasurer who would do it.
Yeah.
But our old treasurer used to do a lot of buying and selling and paperwork and doing things with the money. Now that's all changed.
Yep.
Yeah, if you wouldn't, the trustees would need a foundation, I think, in order for the treasurer to be more than like vestigial.
Hmm. Right.
But the old treasurer used to monthly tell how much interest we got on our CDs, how much we got from our investments, what we spent. That was more involved. That's
Yes.
changed.
Right, and that's what I was, referring to earlier.
Yeah, but that was under a different director who did
Well,
not
it was a
do
different
anything
ruling
like
from-
that. Did not like math, did not like money. And, she just didn't do that. So it had to be up to the treasurer to do it.
Right, and I guess, Ellie, that's kind of what's sitting in my head still, like that's what the treasurer does. And if that's changed.
We don't have those things. We don't have a checking account. We don't have an investment account. We don't have a CDs getting interest every month. So that's not there.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the bylaw. The bylaw says the treasurer shall receive and keep safe all monies pertaining to the library and shall pay all bills in accordance with the direction of the trustees. He or she shall keep continuous records of the treasuries, shall make quarterly written reports to the trustees, and shall make a proposed annual budget for action by the trustees. The treasurer shall be bonded in an amount by a bonding company to be decided by the trustees, and bonding premium to be at the library's expense. So, I mean, that's all stuff that like I consider in my job description.
Right.
So I think
the bylaws say that a treasurer shall be bonded in the amount of a bonding company decided by the trustees. I mean, it might make sense to leave the position vacant until we figure out what to do about.
No, because then you'll have a 2-month wait. If you need something signed tomorrow, you'll have to wait to the next trustees meeting to nominate somebody, and then the following trustees meeting to accept the minutes. So it's a 2-month wait right there.
Signed by a treasurer.
Yeah, but if you don't have a treasurer, you have to. So that's why I think it's important to have a treasurer. So
how would you like it to be called? Secretary treasurer?
But we can't do that without changing the bylaws.
Yeah, right, exactly. So
well, we're not going to go by the bylaws anyway, because the treasurer is not going to be paying the bills like it says.
Right.
but the treasurer, whoever it may be, would instruct the director, or we would discuss it at a trustees meeting, and the treasurer would say, how do you feel about having the library director do all this paperwork and blah, 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 blah. And we say no, or we say yes.
So we could assign the director some of those responsibilities.
Yes, but not in the job description. I think we can do it at our meeting. Or we'll look at the job descriptions later on. Oh, Dawn Fontaine, I sing, who is this? It looks like a movie star.
So it seems like to me that we could say, okay, I could be the treasurer for the next, while we figure this out.
Yeah, but we're not figuring it out. We're going to run into it again and spend how many minutes, 20 minutes on this question? Again, next year.
I'm sorry, I am so sorry. I could not get on and I figured out I unplugged my laptop and then everything was fine. So I'm sorry I'm coming in on the tail end of the discussion.
What do we have to do to change our bylaws?
Jean is not going to let any treasurer pay any bills.
Right.
Yeah,
So
no,
if we need to change the bylaws, then how would we do that? If
I
we
don't
want-
think we need to change the bylaws.
I think we just go along because those bylaws helped us to get Matt to decide that we were in charge of our funds and we could do what we passed last month.
Mm,
You know, so our bylaws are worked for that. And I think if we start messing with it, that's what I get scared about is then we'd have to get a lawyer in to make sure we're doing everything right. That's why it's better just sort of to keep what you have and don't mess with it.
I think where they get messy is, like there's a limitation of authority because nothing in these bylaws can supersede, town, state, or federal authority, or any
Right.
nothing in these bylaws can supersede the provisions of the legal documents by which the library was established and accepted by the town, nor the provisions of the state laws as they may apply. And so they don't there's a lot that they were written in 1903, and everything about municipal
well,
finance
not much has
is
changed.
changed since 1903.
Some of our government officials want to take us back there, so.
Okay, Kate.
Not to get political.
Yeah.
For the time being, though, if someone just is comfortable volunteering for the vestigial position of treasurer, we can set time as we can figure out what the treasurer can actually do, or retool the position to make it, in line with, the way the modern finance process works. Then we could move on to another agenda item.
I think whoever takes it, we should make them a T-shirt that says vestigial treasurer.
Treasurer.
That reminds me of my appendix, yes.
So I move the question
The
And-
question,
that we use the same slate as last year. Dan, Chair, Kate, Vice Chair, Ellie, Secretary, Barbara, Treasurer.
Okay, a second?
It's already been
Oh,
seconded.
seconded, okay. So we're ready
I
to
would
vote?
just want us to vote on it and get over this.
Yeah, I
this thing.
understand. All right.
Barbara, are you okay with this?
Yeah. Yeah, well,
I'll make another motion to have both you and Dawn as the signers, one or the other, okay? After we vote on this one, on the slate, on the reorganization.
right.
Okay, okay. So.
Yes, that's okay with you, Barbara?
Well, I obviously I'm feeling ambivalent about it because we haven't really settled anything. But we
Well,
gotta
if you don't want to vote you in, if you don't want to be voted in.
So far, I mean, it's worked this way. And I guess I'd like to leave it open to having a further discussion about it. Can we do that?
It worked great the whole last year, didn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it'll probably work great the next year.
So we'll talk about it again next year.
No, we won't talk about it anymore. We'll just put someone's name down and keep going.
we could form a subcommittee to research it.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, my.
oh,
There we
man.
go.
A subcommittee of one, Barbara.
I am not volunteering. I am not for that.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to vote on this.
I didn't hear if Barbara's okay with it or not.
Yes, but I think I've expressed my concerns and misgivings about it too. And so I hopefully everyone will realize if something comes up, I'm willing to sign with a treasurer. You need a treasurer's signature. But if it comes to the point where I have to be bonded and all of that stuff, it's a different thing.
Yeah, you're right.
No,
Absolutely.
So it's okay if we vote you in.
like these yes or no answers. I want them qualified.
All right.
Yes,
So once again,
Yes. All right. Yes.
okay, all those in favor of continuing with the slate as it is as of now for the next year?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, so that carries.
And now I'd like to make a motion to have the same, Barbara and Dawn to be one or the other be the signers of the required papers with the town
Okay,
payroll.
all right. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
All right, discussion, questions? Are we good with that? Hearing no discussion, okay, then we will move to vote on having Barbara and Dawn able to both sign. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Very good, okay. So we can move on. The discussion, I think that is something that could be maybe brought up next meeting to a further discussion on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll figure this out.
Yep.
Mhm.
Right. So I don't have anything in front of me. Justin, do you have
So the
anything?
reorganization is done. Did y'all vote as to approve Dawn and Barbara as signers for payroll and vouchers?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I guess next time up for financial report. The operational bits, the town budget part is looking very, we're ending the year with more money than we usually have at this point. Part of that's due to budget increases, part of it's due to just lean purchasing. 2020, 2021 have been very weird years. And we've also had very few like unexpected, expenditures, involving repairs or needing, things. So, we're only got one month left of the fiscal year, and we've got $13,781 left. As we get close to July 30th, it gets a little bit tricky because we have to kind of guess what the last month's electricity bills are going to be and make room for phone bills and any unforeseen expenses that might come in. But my goal is always to spend our budget down as close to zero as possible on ebooks, e-audiobooks that people are waiting for. And there's going to be a lot of money to throw at that problem this month.
Great.
Other than that,
That's a
there's
good thing.
not much else to talk about. The Friends of the Library have generously infused
Oh,
our
man, yes. I think
our
we need to make recognition of that. That's wonderful.
donations
That's
account. But
Incredible.
we'll talk about that under capital campaign. Moan is gone. We spent that down last month,
Mhm.
and that's really it.
Good.
Okay.
Very good.
So director's report.
Yeah.
I have the numbers here for April and May. Since it's June 1st, so I was able to compile all the May numbers with the exception of electronic database usage. And because I don't get that compiled data from the Massachusetts library system until mid-month, the following month. You know, April was looking kind of good. May was kind of shabby because we were closed the whole month. But I mean, we still
I think
circulated
you did pretty good.
1,100 digital loans,
Hmm.
and still a lot of computer use from the parking lot and from people checking out laptops. We loosened the restrictions on that a little bit to let, you know, patrons that we know and trusted check out laptops that they could use, and not necessarily have to keep them in the building.
That's good. That's good to know that those things are being used.
Right.
They really are. That and the mobile hotspots, which
Mm.
we'll talk about come October, because in October, the funding dries up for the mobile hotspots and we're going to have to replace them with something else. And I think that there will be, you know, unsatisfied people if we don't replace them with something else, because that's been a very popular thing. They're almost all
Yeah.
gone. I checked one out and took it to Arkansas with me, so I didn't have to use all my cell phone data on the trip, and it was a lifesaver.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
But there's going to be some webinars and things about how to best go about that later, put on by the MBLC. But yeah, I got back from vacation Sunday night. I didn't get back to work until late yesterday afternoon because of babysitter issues. Getting the library back open to the public after the ceiling repair was my first priority. So yesterday and today has been a lot of vacuuming, moving, dusting, just trying to get things back together. And while I was trying to move Gail's computer back up the stairs this morning, I don't know what happened to it, but it stopped working. So I had to take that apart and fix it. So I haven't accomplished a lot since I've been back, back open. As for the project itself, you know, we're satisfied with the finished project, with the finished product. The ceiling looks great. They did everything that they were supposed to do in that regard. And but I mean, it was kind of a bit of an infuriating process because, you know, the electrician would come and he would get his work done, and then there would be days when no one was doing anything. And then the plasticers would come and they would work really hard and work till 2 a.m. and, you know, get it banged out. But then again, nothing would happen for another 3 to 4 days.
Right.
And, you know, it's those delays that led to the project taking 5 weeks in what was supposed to be a 4-week worst case scenario.
Mm. But that's what happens when you're dealing with more than one contractor. When you're dealing with multiple professionals coming in and trying to coordinate everything. So one does their job and then leaves saying, I'm done, I'll be back and blah, blah, blah. And then you're waiting, like I think most homeowners know the same feeling.
Yep, that's the way it goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think 5 weeks is amazing considering.
Right, me
I
too.
agree, for sure.
Could be worse.
Yep.
We had to have the janitors come in and do a 6-hour deep clean yesterday. She actually, you know, the person who usually comes and cleans the library on Tuesdays and Thursdays came, looked at it and was like, I can't do this by myself, and had to leave and bring back more people.
Wow.
Dust is pervasive. It gets in everything and on everything, and it doesn't want to come off.
Right.
I have a little dusting attachment to a backpack vacuum that we've used to vacuum off the top of every single, you know, book. We've ran it
Right.
all the shelves just to try to get as much of the stuff off as we can. But I mean, we're going to be finding plaster dust in here for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
But
that
there's
was
been some positive things to come from it, because we moved the music and movement story time program that Deb Hudgens does on Tuesdays up to the town common. And, you know, we were having, you know, maybe 4 or 5 people, and now we're having like 30, 35 people.
Yeah.
show up to the-
I drove-
Really?
I
That's cool.
drove by this past Tuesday and it was packed.
Yeah.
Honest to God, it was.
Well, not
That's
only
cool.
is it great for the library using that and having people come to their story hours and stuff like that, or programs, but it's also really nice that the town common is being used. You know,
Yes.
that's what
yes.
I really those two things are wonderful.
Yep,
happen together.
absolutely.
Yeah.
The town common has worked really well as a programming spot. The resource room at town hall, not so much, because as soon as the kids figure out that there's live mics on the table, it's all over.
It's science.
They should have recorded them for cable. It would have been fun.
But that's all I've got for director's report, other than, just I've got mountains of books and papers and things on my desk to pour through. And hopefully next month I'll have more on ARPA. Matt sent out an email about that right before I went on vacation and created like a cooperative work doc for department heads, but no one happened on it since then. I need to catch up on watching Board of Selectmen meetings to find out where they're at with it, and talked to Gary Moyer, and just try to get some things happening.
Great.
I think they didn't discuss it at the Board of Selectmen meeting, the last one, because too many people were absent or something. So I don't think anything happened at the last one.
Then maybe I haven't missed anything.
There you go.
There you go. Exactly. Okay. Moving on to old business. We talked about the ceilings, handicap access ramps.
I think we can just stop using the word ramps. No one is excited about ramps.
Okay. And it sounds like Gary's not excited either, so.
No, Gary was the least excited about ramps.
Yeah, so.
He was only going to do ramps, or is he going to do another plan?
Well, that's what I've got to talk to him about, because what was the last email that I sent him? Basically the last email I sent him was, I'm about to go on vacation. Can we touch bases in June? But he had, let's see, CW Mars. Sorry, I'm just going to my other computer. Okay, so he was talking about like the cost estimation, because he believes $400,000 established budget is not sufficient for the project because of prevailing wage, unprecedented construction cost because of COVID, and the fact that we have to do accessible parking and accessible route from the parking to the new entrance. And that will involve site drainage and studies and, so this is what he wrote. You may consider your next steps to include a process we recently completed on a project in Northbridge, which will include ARPA funds. We were asked to work on conceptual digital phase, or we were asked to work on the conceptual design phase to repurpose an underutilized old school building built in 1895. The project will include childcare rooms as well as multi-purpose spaces for community use. We prepared design sketches and a scope of work, and a cost estimator then completed a conceptual budget for the project. And this process may help make a case for ARPA funding as well as funding from other sources. So what he is saying he can do is kind of what, the BFCC has been telling us they want us to do, and Mike Fitzpatrick was really wanting us to do, is to get some kind of preliminary sketch work done that we can attach a preliminary budget to. So my next step, I guess, is to, just try to assess out, how much that would cost to do.
Are you saying the next step would be to get a cost estimator, not an architect drawing designs and all that other stuff that I think is a waste of money right now?
Some kind of architectural sketches to make.
We already have sort of that.
I know.
I just hate going to do this again and again.
I'm
and again and
hearing
spend
you,
more money.
Ellie. Yes, I'm hearing you, and I'm thinking the same thing. It's kind of painful to keep doing it over and over and over. I don't know, my thought is to just put that aside for now and the whole ramp proposal. If he has some other, something else that he has in mind, he would need to, I would say, provide the library board with
Something in writing.
something more than I don't want to be disrespectful in any way, but more than a diorama, okay?
Well, I mean, that's what I was saying. My next step needs to be is to, like sets out, what he can offer for what price, and
Exactly,
to talk
right.
to the board. And we would need to discuss, what we liked about the Van Horhus plans, what we didn't like, potential cost saving things to try to get the project cost down. Talk about what has already been done in the interim since those designs were created. But I mean, I want to find out from him, because I mean, like, these are conversations that, are going to cost money to have, because I mean, he
Right.
has to get paid to work. So, I want to know what that rate would be and bring that to you guys before.
Right, right. So I would say do we want to keep that on the agenda? I mean, we have to keep.
Yeah, I don't want to take it off. I'll just remove the word using ramps.
Yeah,
I'll just
okay,
call it handicap access.
okay, all right, sounds good.
No ramp.
Now, I did at the book sale last weekend, there was a couple, and I had this first time I've ever met them, and they were talking about, they hadn't lived in town for very long, but the woman said she thought it was a law, federal, state, or whatever law, that you had to have a handicapped accessibility. And I tried to explain to her that there are other priorities in town, and that's and this, and most of it is like for police stuff or for fire stuff and or highway stuff, which is, that's primary on people's mind, and I can see why they want that. And then if the library all of a sudden has something up, then it's going to go down the tubes, because these other priorities are what people want. And that's why we're trying to raise money to help with this.
Right.
And then I said there, because I know Shirley Cooney had asked Matt at one of the, not Shirley Cooney, Shirley Mazinski, at one of the Capitol meetings, and she said, well, what's happening with the handicap committee? There was one, it was authorized by town meeting about a year or two ago to create a handicap committee to look into all of this, and then you qualify as that, those funds that Justin had applied for several years ago, and you got nowhere with it from whatever that handicap place was that you were working with. And the reason why was that the town didn't authorize at a town meeting to create this committee. Well, they still don't have the committee because they haven't had people volunteer. So I told this woman to call Lisa at the selectman's office.
Good for you.
Volunteer to go on this committee, and because we need people on it. But
yeah, that would be great. Get some new blood.
Well, yeah,
and get some people who are like have some enthusiasm.
Yeah. Now I'm a type 1 diabetic, so I could be on this committee, but I don't want to be. I've got other things I'm concentrating on.
Okay, I would
qualify to be on this.
We've all been beaten down to the point where it's like somebody help us.
Handicapped.
Yeah.
So
I thought they had a committee way back when Adele was here, and they evaluated all the buildings in town, and they said what every building needed.
Well, that
Maybe
was
it's
Charlie.
disbanded.
Charlie did that.
Not Charlie Van Voorhees.
Yeah,
No,
Adele was
they did
the
other.
committee. Adele was appointed as the person, the handicap accessibility director, whatever.
Right.
And
That was her state job.
That was a while ago.
no, that
Yeah.
wasn't a state job. That was when she was building inspector.
Yeah, but she went on to do that at the state level.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
but there
I
was
didn't
a
know that.
local group that evaluated every place.
That was
No, it was Charlie that evaluated everything. They sent out a questionnaire and Charlie wrote a report. There's a
it was
report
by
of it all.
Haroon Architects. The Handicapped Accessibility Study for the Simon Fairfield Public Library from June 19th, 1996.
Who
Yeah,
did
but
that?
somebody evaluated all the town buildings. They weren't specific to the library.
Right. No, they did.
They made a binder for each building.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, there was, it turned out that the state changed the rules and you needed a committee appointed or authorized by town meeting to be appointed. And this was much more recently, within the last 5 years. And so when Justin was applying for that handicapped accessibility grant, I think you did it 2 years in a row, didn't you, Justin?
Yeah.
And they bypassed you. And the reason was because the town did not have, had not authorized at town meeting a
Well,
committee to be formed for this sort of
With the
thing.
grant. One, it just got really competitive.
Well, and that's what they said. Okay, you have to have this committee going on. So, you know, find some handicapped people around and get them to serve on it. And so this woman, I don't know, she didn't look handicapped at all. She looked like a fireman almost. She, but skinny as a rail. And but she, you know, she was very concerned about the whole issue and saying, it's, hey, you have to do this. And I said, no, it's the town that has to do it.
It's all up to you, Ellie.
Yeah,
Come on.
right. Or, you know, the library has to do it. And I said, no, you know, we can't.
We'd love to do it.
I know, but we have to have this this committee formed. And I don't know at what point. I mean, I know Shirley Masinski will ask again about it. So that's good, you know, that she's keeping
Right. Absolutely.
on their toes. So that's all I had. I'm sorry.
That's fine. No, that's great. Good. All right, so we can move on to grants with the capital campaign.
The Friends donated at their annual meeting $5,030 of their funds, because the Friends raise funds every year from their membership drive and from their plant sales. And every year they're, you know, like, what's the library need this money for? And we use it, you know, we've used it for programming,
Right.
lots of sort of extras, outreach, website, and, you know, if there was left over, and they gave it to us to put in the building fund. And then they raised another $1,145.
Crazy.
So we went from 126,000 to 132,000.
Amazing. That's so cool. That is amazing. That's great. I think that's, and it, you know, but it also shows that the Friends have enough in contributions from people who are concerned about the library, you know, so that they have that money to donate. I think that speaks to the need in the town for handicap accessibility. I really do. We have to remember that. We have to build on the positive end of people donating their time and their treasures and their talents for this worthy cause.
Yeah, and I think, well, that we'll get to the Friends stuff, but I can say it here too, since it looks like I'm sort of next in line to do it. But Kristen Stevens, who basically runs the plant sale. She had to go to her granddaughter's wedding on Saturday, but she was there at 8 in the morning, helping set up and everything, making sure everything was in order. But she had worked at Texas Instruments, and she has this ability to, well, she's in the past has given $1,000, or not her, but Texas
Right,
Instruments
Texas Instruments does.
has given $1,000, but she had always put down for children's programs or services. So I told her, geez, why don't you give it to the building fund, So then she called me on Sunday to, I had to check with her on how the wedding went fine and stuff like that. But she said, now, how much did you make? And I said, well, I sent you, all the trustees. And I said, Kristen and the friends, people, the results. And she said, oh, okay, I'll look at it. And then I'll send in my request to Texas Instruments. So I think what she's going to try to do is get the $1,145.65 matched by Texas Instruments, and that would go to, because now they match stuff as opposed to say, okay, if you've worked for a charity, which Kristen has, then we'll donate. And if you've put in the correct amount of hours, then we'll donate $1,000. But then recently she found out that they actually match how much money you raise for that. So
because I thought it was like $1,000 maximum.
Well, that's what she thought too. And they just would, automatically give us, and they have for the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, so that's been very nice. But so I think she's going to try for the, matching bit. And she said, and I won't put it in for children. I'll put it for your, whatever you want to use it for. So I said, okay, fine.
That's great of her.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wonderful. I think it's a feel-good story. It really is. It really is.
Yeah.
I think it is. Okay, other old business. Hearing none. Do we have new business?
I haven't been back long enough to make any new business.
All right. So
I just want, this is not new business, but I did want to make a note that, I had surgery in April. And when I came home, I don't know how it happened, but Justin said, well, do you need any books? And I said, oh, what a great idea, because I'm going to be recuperating here for the next few weeks at home. And he brought books. And that was so great, because it just came out of that kind of like I was, somewhere else at the time.
right.
And so I was thinking, well, like that was such a great thing. And I mean, he came and brought them. And if we could somehow promote that kind, like, like how does it, I don't know what you can do, but I just wanted to just mention it to say, if there's a way we could say, if you're recuperating from surgery or whatever, you need books, the library's that help you out.
Well, we could do a little Facebook promotion, right? Like we're still delivering if you have a need and that sort of thing.
Exactly.
But see, and I think some people think, we know that the library will deliver for you, and maybe some people do it regularly, but some people don't think about it until it's like, oh, it's me and I need it,
Yeah,
Right. I know.
Oh, it's a different to me, because I've always just gone to go borrow books. So I do it online. I don't know. It was just really such a thoughtful.
It is. Yeah.
That they actually came and brought me books.
Yeah. And you know what? Another piece could be, Dawn, and part of it is if you know of someone who could possibly, not even to say if you're recuperating, whatever, if you know of someone whose spirits could be lifted by a book delivery.
Yeah.
Let us know, check out what interests they have or whatever. I think that is like, that's really spreading the joy.
Is it for everybody but Barbara? Justin, it's still Thursday for delivery?
Yep.
Okay, and they can call.
Yeah, there's I need to make the information more visible on the website.
And you know, it was even more comprehensive
Update the
comprehensive than that. I normally I try to pick my books very carefully, but at that point in time, I just wanted to just something. I wouldn't call it beach reading, but you know, something akin to that. And
Right.
it was just to read, and I didn't even really have anything in mind. And I said to Justin, well, what about this author or that one? And he looked it up and see what the library had for me. I didn't even have to,
Yeah.
you know, he kind of picked them out. Well, I have this. How about this? And so it was there as an interactive kind of thing too. Now I don't know if he could do that with everybody, but you know.
Well, we also heard,
Right.
Barbara, that he delivered some of his wife's
Yeah.
books to you, and you got poetry too.
Yeah. So this is
There you go.
you know, it was
You have
more
too
than
many
just the
Jackson
book
books
delivery, it was the whole thing, like, because my mind was not where I could even think, what do I want to read, you know?
Right.
But I had time, and I was supposed to just rest for a couple of weeks. So the library helped that. So like I said, I don't know exactly how to promote that. I wanted to say it was great, to thank Justin, and see if we could
Welcome.
I
Great.
think you did a wonderful job.
see if we could reach out to other people in the community who may not even know that this is available.
Right, I know. That is so sweet. Thank you, Barbara.
You're welcome.
Really nice. Right. So under new business, I would like to say that I like Justin's look. Is that for the summer or ongoing or what?
Yeah, it's getting hot.
Yeah, all right, good for you. Okay, so are we ready to schedule our next meeting?
June 28th, 2022 at 5 p.m.
Sounds good to me. All right. So with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right, all those in favor, as Joe used to
Aye.
say, it's a standing vote.
Aye.